Hey everybody, take three on this. So before Lifesavers, I gave you guys my presentation and I really screwed the data up. So I was like, oh, I gotta fix this. So of course I practiced and got it down better. But I wanted to like redo the data part for you guys. So you got the whole like really the like exactly what we've collectively done together in North Idaho. So I'm just going to run through the data and put it on YouTube. So feel free to watch this video at your own leisure. It's probably about 15 minutes. So if you don't have time, just come back and watch it later. But I just wanted to share with you guys exactly like what we've been able to do, and it's pretty freaking incredible. Like it is a attributable change, and there is nothing going on except what we're doing. So, uh, share my screen. So, like I said, I'm just going to go right to the data. Okay. I put this in because this is a little treat for Gloria and Emma. Gloria and Emma, get ready. You ready? Look at that. Look at that swell looking guy. That's my high school senior picture. I didn't I didn't have a headshot I liked. So I picked that. Anyway, so we've seen this. Let's talk about Idaho is where we want to start. Uh okay. So here's the data, right? This is what I messed up last time. So uh North Idaho, our service area, right, is 10 counties. Uh, for the most part, Kootenai County is considered Idaho urban. So again, it's not urban like Cincinnati or Cleveland, but for Idaho, for all intents and purposes, Kootenai County in Idaho is pretty gosh darn urban. So so everything we're talking about moving forward, we've taken Kootenai County out of the equation because we're just looking at what's going on in these nine other northern counties because we serve Kootenai County with our office, so families have access, to our programs and services, like already. And the whole point of this program, right, was to create access for families that didn't have access based on location, any other barriers they face. So that was the whole point. So we just wanted to make sure everyone knows that we're not shirking our responsibility in serving Kootenai County families by doing our REO programs. We're doing both. And it's really, really it's great. Like there was 340 reported car seat checks in Kootenai County last year. Safe Start was responsible for 338 of them, so 99.4%. But here's the deal with Kootenai County, and it's kind of frustrating. Kootenai County for Idaho, it's a large county. I believe it's the second or third largest county in Idaho out of 42 or 44 counties. So the thing that's really frustrating is Kootenai County has a population of 180, 190,000 people. So, for Idaho, that's very urban. But we are the only agency in the entire county that does anything. We've reached out to fire, EMS, police. Nobody else wants to get involved. Our hospital, births, which births 3,200 babies a year, they don't want to get involved. It's just we're completely on our own in this island, which is great. Like we're doing a good job, but there's like no help. So that's kind of frustrating. We just had a frustrating moment the other day. Uh, our county fire department, Liz knows the guy very well. She served on boards with him, and she reached out and said, "Hey, they had a gal that used to do some stuff, but she left a year ago." And they said, "Nope, we're not interested in doing it anymore." So okay. Anyway, so enough complaining about what's going on in Kootenai County. But so this is what's going on in Kootenai County. We're still taking care of our responsibility in Kootenai County. So we look at our service area. This is our service area. These are the 10 northern counties of Idaho. And then when we plot our REO events, these are 6 mile radius circles. So uh, anywhere within that circle is 6 miles or less from one of our REO events. So we did a really good job when we set this up. And then just so we're clear, we're taking out Kootenai County. We're not talking about that going forward. So our REO program covers more than 19,700 square miles in Idaho's 9 northernmost counties, right? We already talked about that. That's more area than the states of Maryland, Hawaii, Massachusetts, right? We cover a ton of area. In fact, more than 80% of the rural residents in those 9 counties, so 80% of the people that are considered rural in those 9 other northern counties live within 6 miles of one of our check sites. So we did a really good job of ensuring the more people had access, as many people as possible had access to what we were doing. So in DCF, so okay, here is what's going on. And when I say organic, I mean without Safe Start and without Safe Start's intervention, which is our REO program. So here's what went on in 2023, just by the other check stations and the other techs around these 9 northern counties, right? Benoit had 2 checks reported in 2023. Bonner had 17. Boundary had 1. Clearwater had none. They made 602. Nez Perce, we have a good friend in Nez Perce. She does a good job. 23 checks, and then Shoshone 5, right? So there was 54 total reported seat checks in the 9 northern, and for the rural residents in the 9 northern counties of Idaho. That's it. Okay. So when you look at what Safe Start was able to do with our REO program, right, it's pretty drastic. So that's what, it's almost 6.8 times as many seat checks. So no longer are there any counties that were completely unserved, right, in 2023, which is a big deal, for what we're trying to do. And we were able to supplement a lot of what was going on. So when we look at number of checks, right, I think this is incredible. So out of, like we talked about Kootenai County, and we are, 99.4% of Kootenai counties we provide. That's the percentage we provide. In the 9 other northern counties, we provide over 90% in 7 of those 9 counties of all the car seat activity in those counties. Like 7 out of 9. Like we provide over 90% of the activity for rural residents in those counties. So here's where I screwed up last time, and this is where I can really kill it now. So we're talking about service access rate. And this was my joke from the presentation. I said, if you haven't heard about it, it's okay. I just made it up like 4 nights ago. So service access rate, right? It's the rate at which a community's residents able to actively access a program or service, right? It's not just a measure of whether people have access to a program or service, but it's a measure of whether or not people are using that program and service, right? So like I can take our truck and trailer, our truck and our mobile safety lab, and I can go park it in a field in Grangeville, Idaho. But if people aren't actively engaging with the services that we're providing, what's the point, right? There's no point. So service access rate, it's not just a measure of the access that they have, it's if they're using it, right? And and that's incumbent service access rate is incumbent upon us to really make sure that people are aware, that people feel comfortable, that we have the right partners, and that we have the right marketing mix to get the word out and to get people to come see us. Okay. So for our purposes, we express this in terms of number of seat checks per 1,000 residents. So quick example, population A has 100,000 residents and 150 seat checks. Population B has 10,000 residents and 25 seat checks. So service access rate, the rate at which people are accessing services, is 1.5 seat checks per 1,000 people, okay, in population A. Population B, right? We did less seat checks, but 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 the service access rate is higher. So people in population B are accessing services, like a 60, whatever that is, percent greater rate than the people in population A, right? We're not performing more seat checks, but more people in that community are accessing services. So that's what we want to measure. We want to measure what is the service access rate for people for rural residents in these 9 northern counties of Idaho. So anytime we're talking about equity, right, which is everyone's talking about equity nowadays, right? We need to have something to compare it to, right? So I need to have a known value and say, okay, this is what I'm comparing it to. This is where I want to get to. So our known value is the service access rate of Kootenai County, which is our urban area, right? And Kootenai County had in 2023 has a service access rate of 1.3. Okay, so that's telling us that these 180,000 people in Kootenai County, they are accessing services at 1.3 seat checks per thousand residents. Okay, that is uh, that is the access rate for people that just have access that are here. We're in their community. They don't have to travel far. They don't have the barriers that our rural families have. This is what it is in Kootenai County. Okay. So ultimately, the goal of our program, right? The goal of our REO program is to ensure that rural families have the same access as our Idaho urban families, right? Like that's what we're trying to do. So we look at a graph, we look at service access rates. This is 2022, right? So that blue line that goes across, that's 1.3. That is the service access rate of Kootenai County. So we can see, right? Benoit, Bonner, Boundary, Clearwater, Idaho, Latah, Lewis, Shoshone, they are all significantly below. Some don't even have any activity for 2022. Okay. So their service access rate is 0. So in 2022, what we know is 8 of these 9 communities have a service access rate that is significantly less than Kootenai County. So these families are accessing services at a rate significantly lower than Kootenai County. Okay. Why is that? Well, it's pretty obvious, right? It's location, it's lack of money, it's just simply lack of access to CPSTs, lack of access to new car seats, childcare, time, right? Lack of access to transportation. There's a billion reasons why these rural communities are not accessing services at the same rate that families are in Kootenai County, okay? So the whole point of this is we want to fix that. So let's look at 2023. Okay, so this is 2023. This is organic only. So this is what went on 2023 without any intervention by Safe Start. Okay, so looks very similar, right? Actually looks a little bit bleaker in like Idaho County and Lewis County, and those definitely went down. We did have some new activity in Boundary and Benoit and Shoshone. But for the most part, like it still looks pretty bad, right? Uh, like the trend is still there. Families in 8 of these 9 rural families in 8 of these 9 northern Idaho counties are continuing to access services at a significantly lower rate than families in Kootenai County. Ready? Okay. Now here comes the big reveal. So now we're going to look at 2023 with the organic activity coupled with Safe Start's intervention via our REO program. And this is what it looks like. Ready? Drum roll. Boom. So when we add what we're doing coupled with what our other check stations and other techs are doing, this is what service access rate now looked like in 2023 for these rural Idaho families. No longer are 8 of the 9 counties accessing services at a rate significantly lower than Kootenai County. We literally, and I'm using that word properly. We literally flipped the script on what's going on, and now 8 of these 9 counties are accessing services at a significantly greater rate than families in Kootenai County do. Latah is still it's we're still below. But it's also important to bear in mind that all this data that we're looking at, right? This comes from one cycle of our REO program. We have 2 cycles, right? But we launched our program in May. You guys might remember, and then so we only did. This is only based on one cycle. So when we look at this data again at the end of 2024, it's going to be incredible because we're going to have 2 full cycles. So right now, 2023, we completely changed the landscape for rural families in North Idaho. They are 8 of the 9 counties are now accessing services at a significantly greater rate than Kootenai County, and in 2024, it will be 9 of 9. Okay, if we're able to go to Latah twice instead of just once, it will be 9 of 9. So we've literally changed, like we've literally created equity. That's what everybody talks about, right? Everyone talks about equity and equity and equity. And And when I was walking to my presentation, I was telling Liz, I'm like, think about saying something, but it might piss some people off. So maybe I shouldn't. And she's like, what would you say? And I'm like, everybody loves to talk about equity, right? Like there was 85 presentations about equity and studies and this and that and you know uh why this is happening to this group and why this group is happening, why this group is, what are barriers to this group, and research and data and research, and people really like to talk about equity, but I don't see a lot of people actually out there doing it. So I was going to say something to the effect of, we as this, child passenger safety community, we love to talk about equity. Like we love it. Like it's great. We love to talk about what we need to do, why it's like this, how come it's, but hey, it's not that hard to go out there and do it and literally create it and literally change the narrative. And yes, this is a small sample size. This is 10 northern counties of Idaho, but it can be done, right? Like it can be done. Uh, this is two people with three awesome support people who believe in their mission and are there to help them, and a truck and a trailer, and just a mission to, do cool stuff. And this is what we've been able to do together. So I was gonna say that, but Liz is like, she's like, yeah, you should say it. And I'm like, I don't want to shoot myself in the foot and piss somebody off. But friends, neighbors, countrymen, what we literally did here was create more equitable outcomes for rural families all throughout these 9 northern Idaho counties. So I think that's pretty amazing. I look at this and I still kind of get like goosebumps because I didn't know it was going to look like this. Like I imagined it was going to look, good. But yeah, this is pretty incredible, I think. So uh, there's our service access rates plotted. And then just I calculated relative service access rate. So it's just the number of times people are accessing services at a rate greater than Kootenai County. So just because it sounds good, So right now, families in Benoit County are accessing in 2023. They accessed CPS services at a rate 2.3 times what families in Kootenai County did. Right, Bonner 1.2, Boundary, all the way down to Lewis 6.8. So I think it's pretty incredible to say that now because of our program, families in Lewis County, Idaho, which is a teeny county that had zero C-check activity for the last 2 years. I don't know how far into the past before there was any reported C-checks, but now we can say that because of our program and what we've done, residents in that county are accessing services at a rate 6.8 times greater than what residents in Kootenai County access. So I said this at the end, and I think it's kind of cheeky, but what we've literally done is we've taken Kootenai County, right, our Idaho urban county, and we've made Kootenai County like the underserved community because the rates of service in these rural rural counties now are higher. So I think it's incredible that we've taken Kootenai County and turned it into an underserved population. So removing barriers, providing access, rural communities accessing services is far greater than urban communities. This is freaking equity, right? Like this is it. Like it's not that hard to stop talking about it and go out there and do it because it can be done, right? Like I'm sure other people have done it before. Maybe they don't talk about it as much as we do. I like to talk about it, but like it can be done. Like two people, a truck and a trailer, some support staff, and some great funders back east in a city with great chili, and like like there's 130,000 Idaho residents that now their the entire way that they are able to access these services has completely changed. So I just wanted to run through the data and actually give a good representation of the data. And share with you guys because you guys are as big a part of this as us because this simply wouldn't be happening without your guys' support and belief in us. So just wanted to say thanks again, give you a rundown of the data, and I will shut up now and let y'all go about your work. Stop sharing. So that's what I got. Yeah, hope you guys are having a good day. Bye.